So anyway, guys, I'm just continuing my program over here by making sure, anyway, they have to be listening to my actual program over here in terms of my music production. I'm also just making nice and beautiful inclines of actual automation clips to go with my sound. So as I really do sounds, I'm making sure that you understand that I do it silently by making sure also to hear everything back as I pause the audio with you, to just go and re-listen to my content over here in terms of my nice and beautiful music production, to just signify a better way. So I want to make sure that you guys have everything that you deserve. So I'm making sure anyway to just go and dwell upon delivering content in a way that works. I see also what's important is making sure that you guys out there have everything that you need in terms of your audio speakers to be on low volume first before you start pumping the music on your actual portable speaker. So what you do is you go into the options menu over here in your FL Studio, and just go and press audio settings, and then just go primary sound driver to make sure that you're recording the sound on a spyware with Lavono laptop or any kind of laptop that you have. I love I want you to make sure that you're never scratching yourself in the first place, and make sure if you're scratching yourself, then scratch yourself only in the shower. And if you're wanting to scratch yourself today, then just be massaging yourself instead, is much better. And you find that you get what you deserve when you massage, in terms of when you massage yourself. But when you message anybody, just message yourself, because that way you do a greater life. But making sure that if you want to connect your portable speaker to your laptop or FL Studio or digital audio workstation, then go into the audio settings and select your portable speaker. And then otherwise, just go to the primary sound driver from that point, and then it's all in connection. So let's have a look over here. I'll just go and really turn down my volume. I'm turning down my volume over here. I'm just leaving a little bit of volume over here so I can hear over here what's happening. So as you can hear that, you can hear some sound happening, but I just go and really understand from that point on that all I want to do is create content in a way that's working. So as I really do that, I understand I have to connect my actual speaker to the FL Studio to be able to volume control it with my laptop. Now, I understand that. So all I do is I go to audio settings to connect it with my JBL portable speaker, and that's the portable speaker I use for my nice and beautiful program over here in terms of what I do with the nice and beautiful sound production. And what you have to understand, that I gave 420 bucks for a 100 module of the portable speaker JBL one, so that I can go and do something for you so you can hear my music, and that's it, because that's what I do. So anyway, that's why I connect everything into the audio settings of my FL Studio so that you guys can hear it. And then I make sure anyway that nothing is lagging inside of my computer. So I'm making sure that the buffer length is nice and beautiful in a way that it's never lagging for me. So I'm making sure that I can go and decrease the buffer, or I can increase the buffer, by making sure anyway that I'm sticking to the buffer length of my nice and beautiful way of life. So if your nice and beautiful music is lagging, then increase the buffer length, because the buffer length goes up to 8,000 and more. But then what you do is the buffer length is something that you can extend so that your music can lag less, so you can do your work, and that's the whole point. I promise you, although, that if your music is never lagging, then go and decrease the buffer length as much as possible so that your nice and beautiful sound driver or FL Studio or digital audio workstation can also be quicker in the time length as well. So that's what the buffer's for, and the buffer's for just making yourself have less lag or having a better audio performance as well. It's a nice and beautiful way to say it. See guys, also it's extremely important that you guys also deliver your volume always at 80% with volume automation clips, so that you can go and have a better sound, but also just make sure that you go and increase the nice and beautiful capacity to see where your actual file is, while also making all of your nice and beautiful automation clips very different in its design, so that you can go and find exactly which kind of module of automation clip you need for every single segment of your vocals. So what you want to do is, I have many vocals over here where I never want to hear that instrumental track much, because I want to hear it in other parts of the tracks, because I have vocals that I want to show. And now, because I want to show these vocals, I want to make sure that I'm also extending my nice and beautiful, let's say, way of life over here, where I can show people different aspects of life in ways that they can see that I mean, they can see that I'm really working on my track in a way that I'm doing greater, because I'm showing a greater technique to be able to do so. And I do that by making sure that people can hear and study what I'm doing along the way, while also making sure that I'm volume reduction and doing volume reduction in my music tracks where I need to, so that I can focus upon understanding to go and really create something that really works. And now what works is making sure that each and every single vocal that I have over here has a volume reduction with instruments. And that way, every single automation that has a volume reduction has a unique type of automation. Understand? So over here, I have a dinosaur vocal that's 10 seconds, but the other one's 5 seconds. So it needs a different type of automation for both of them. Understand? So that's how my vocals are. And I make sure that no matter what, I want to pull through my nice and beautiful vocals, so that I understand that way I reduce all my sounds so that my vocals can come out. And that's what I'm doing. I see also, if you're hearing a lot of, let's say, clips or anything that's clipping in your music, then make sure you understand to increase the buffer length. Because if you hear clips in terms of something clipping or distorting inside of your mix or your soundtrack, then make sure you also understand that it's because you need to increase the buffer length. And it's because the track file size is too much for that FL Studio file in terms of what you have. And what you need to do is go and increase the buffer length to make it more, and that's it. And then also make sure that you can go and unmute or mute your sound with your laptop, so you can quickly press play or record on the audio, in terms of on the audio, or else in terms of on the audio voice memo like I have here. So you guys can understand I had to go and really, let's say, press my mute and unmute function over here with the laptop to be able, in terms of to be able to go and speak to you very quickly, and to be able to unpause and record my nice and beautiful program over here so I can talk to you. And that's the whole point. So make sure you're unpausing or mute your nice and beautiful laptop sound with FL Studio if the sound is playing, so you can quickly press record on the actual voice memo, so you can teach people quickly the ideas that you have, so you can actually start growing, because that's what it's about. I'm also using my fingers to start in terms of pause and unpause my nice and beautiful voice memo that you're hearing. And I'm using my finger to just press pause or to press unpause so that you guys can hear me. I'm never using any kind of remote with voice memo programs such as this, because I understand my selfie stick has a remote, but I'm never using that remote with you right here. I'm using my finger to pause and unpause my voice memos always, and that's what always, or else that's always what I do. I never need some recording remote control to tell me when to pause or unpause my programs, because I just use my finger. And that's why. I realize although that what I do need is a remote controller and a selfie stick with my fashion photos. And now my fashion photos is something I use with a selfie stick and also a remote from the selfie stick to do my photos in terms of my fashion photos. And that's why I do need a selfie stick and a remote always, to be able to go and do my fashion photos at least. Because that way I understand that no matter what, I have a better time doing so. But also I can record videos with my nice and beautiful remote controller from my selfie stick, and I can just press it and it unpauses and pauses my video as sweet as can be. And then I make sure anyway that you guys understand that, and that's why I'm growing. I say also, guys, just make sure you're never waiting to unpause and to never do anything other than make sure you're pressing stop completely with your nice and beautiful project, while also saving your projects every single time you make a new file or anything like that, and also renaming it to the actual master file that you are making. So this one over here is the ending master file, because it's the end of my music track. So I'm making sure anyway that you must understand that when I'm really doing something, I'm always making sure that I can see exactly what's going on around here in terms of my sound recording, and why isn't my nice and beautiful, let's say, recordings or anything I do in terms of life. I make sure that no matter what, that I'm always looking for reasons to explain myself and to do greater in terms of what I'm doing, but making sure that I can always hear all of the nice and beautiful content of what's happening so I can do better. I see, guys, if you do control left click with the pad, in terms of if you do control left click with the pad of your laptop, then it's a select format. But if you do a control right click in FL Studio, then it's a actual, let's say, magnifying glass. So you must understand, so be careful. But I'm understanding that sometimes it can get annoying, but make sure you understand that no matter what, that you're learning very quickly upon what you need to do. And then just understand that if your sound never works, then it's because of some kind of volume reduction or anything that you have going for you in that spot. But make sure you understand anyway to go and figure out all the time, and always be looking to see why isn't your sound working and why is the volume gone from that sound. So what you want to find out is always something different. So it's either you have to raise the volume, and that's what the case is over here. I have to raise the volume over here. So now, since that's the case, I'm always learning something quicker, and that's the whole point. Alright, now when you click on your sound effect, go and click on your sound effect over here, and then what happens is you have to raise the volume. And now the volume may reduce for some reason. So what you do is you make a little mini clip and just make a new automation file, and then just paste it right there and see is it working, because that way you can hear a sound always. You see, so I just make sure that you understand that what I do is I click on the file, I click on the nice and beautiful, let's say, aspect of life, and I make an automation clip inside of that. So making sure you understand that no matter what, that if you click on the file or audio stem file in FL Studio, then it brings you to a volume control, and then go and make a new automation clip there, and then understand to just paste a little automation clip just before it so you can hear the sound. And now what I want to do with this sound specifically is I want to let it hang. I want to see how it actually records with the nice and beautiful, let's say, program over here with my FL Studio, and I want to see how it's actually correlating with my sound in terms of my actual dinosaur vocals. And I want to make sure that my nice and beautiful sounds are bringing my actual vocals ahead of the game, so I can actually do better. I see also to, let's say, remove effects from your nice and beautiful sound effects, or to remove effects from your instruments or anything, then go and file it into a new mixer channel. And that way it has new effects and it has no effects on it anymore, and then you can go and really work on that sound. You can go and work on that sound now in a different format, and you can go and do something different. I see also what you can do is make sure that you understand that if you have vocals playing over vocals, then go just play one vocal at a time. And now if you understand how to do that, then make sure that in the spacing of where your track is with the vocals that you're playing, then just make sure that your vocals are in that position and that there is only one vocal file playing there. But if you have 50 million vocal files playing at the same time, then you understand straight away that there's too much going on. So what you do is just play one vocal file in that space, and that's it. But then in other cases where you want that kind of effect going, where you want that many, let's say, dinosaurs or whatever it is in terms of vocals to happen, then it makes sense if you want it like that. But understand that what's even better than that is playing one vocal file, and that's it. Understand? But make sure one vocal file that works and that has a great sound is much better than the 50 million vocals that have the crappiest, worst sound that you've ever seen. So make sure you understand that no matter what, that all sounds are amazing. But make sure you understand that every single day that you label everything good in a way that you understand your word I, and that's how you move forward. See, here's the thing about these people who have groups like Trance Music Appreciation Society and Hardstyle Music Appreciation Society and techno groups and trance groups and EDM groups and all these electronic groups, and all these groups online are fucking full of shit. Because why? Because they never allow you to go and post anything in their programs, but they want you to watch them. You understand? So everything's good and nothing's full of shit, but understand this, that you never ever join those groups where they control you and they try to say, hey, answer these questions for you to be in the group, and if you never do that, then they never choose you. Never ever be in those groups, and never be in groups where they never allow you to post something. They never allow you to promote your name. Why do you want to be in that group for? What for? Why do you even want to be in that group? That's a stupid group. That is a stupid group to be in. So make sure you understand, you never ever be in a group where they disallow you to promote yourself or to talk to other people in the group, or where they're disallowing you to do anything in that group. If they even did, if they disallow you to spam, then never be in that group. Never ever be in that group ever. So make sure you understand that what's important is to have no rules other than Jesus Christ's rules. So make sure you understand that way you're going to promote yourself and do greater and greater and greater, and then you're going to be more, because you never need to be around people who block you for trying to promote yourself. I see, guys. So, for example, I recently I went and said a comment to the Hardstyle Appreciation Society because they are people who never promote people. I mean, they are people who promote other people but never other people. So they promote people to never promote other people. I mean, it's the most stupid approach. That is the most stupid group I've ever seen in 2021. And also the Trance Music Appreciation Society too. They promote people to never promote people. So realize this, that if you have any groups like that in your life, just focus upon expressing yourself as much as you can, but focus on delivering content much more than them, and never let it get to you in a way that you have to go kill them or something because they did kick you out of a group or something. Many people are kicking them out in life. Many people are making them work a 9-to-5 job now. Many people are retaliating them in a way to make them work to do something that they never want to do. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that those souls out there have nothing to do. I'm happy that they are going downhill. I'm happy because that way I have my karma in life. I mean, karma in my life is I'm a bigger star than them in life and have a greater legacy than them. And I go into eternity and I say, I'm sorry, man, but I have a greater legacy than you in life. I mean, do you understand that? I tell them straight away, I have a greater legacy always than you. I tell them in the face for eternity. And I give it to them like this, always. I give it to them always like this. I have a greater legacy than you always. But that's it. I mean, understand? Because that's what you need to do. I mean, you need to be able to understand that. And you need to be able to give that. Because yes, I mean, they can kick you out of a group, but what they can never kick you out from is when you say, I'm better than you. Forever. I'm always better than you. I always have a greater content than you. And that's it. I mean, the truth is always that you can see the truth, and that's it. I mean, you can never lie to me about the truth. I mean, the truth is always potential. And if you have potential, then you have the truth. See, what you guys can do is you can go and place a double Maximus volume gain on any of your vocals whenever, or any of your instruments whenever, if you really need to. I mean, in a sense, and there's no rules here. I mean, if you want the sound to be more, then go ahead and place 10 Maximus volume gains on your sounds. As long as you're happy with it, I promise you, as long as it's going for you in a way that it works, then go for it. So also what you can do is make sure that if you're raising the volume on your sounds, to go and place those sounds into a new channel rec somewhere and make a unique file, in terms of make them a unique file, and be able to correspond with those files with a new sound somewhere else in your nice and beautiful content. So what you can do is, if you have vocals in your intro, then it's a different type of file than it is the vocals in your middle file or the vocals in your finish file. Because why? Because they can be in different mixer channels with different volume settings, is what I mean. So guys, what you can create is a nice and beautiful sound of a piano just like this. I mean, do you guys hear that? So that chain effect is something that can go in your nice and beautiful, let's say, sounds, which is just like dun 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 dun, and it's so beautiful, isn't it? So what you guys can do is you can go into the vocal or any kind of instrument and you can cut it midway points, or you can cut it 1/3 or 1/4 or 1/6 of that kind of vocal stem or vocal audio file, or any type of audio file or any type of instrument. You can make another sound from that. So it never has to be the same sound, or else it can start from a different interval. So if it's going dun, 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 I mean, guess what? I just go dun, 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 dun. I mean, I can cut it like that. I mean, it never has to go starting and repeating from the start all over again. But actually what I can all over again in terms of what I do is understand that no matter what, I can slice anywhere in my audio files or soundtracks to make a new stem file or new audio clip or anything like that, where I can go and make a new sound effect with some new tones or whatever it is, to make sure that you guys have much more happening. I want you guys always to remove any kind of distortion. So if you listen to this over here, I mean, do you see that rip? I mean, look at this now. I go remove that clip right here and watch this. Alright, either way, I have to remove it just a bit more. But watch this now. I mean, do you see the difference between that and the other one? So check out the difference over here. I mean, this is with distortion. I mean, do you hear the clip there? But look at it now. I mean, do you see that? I mean, there's a big difference. So you guys have to be able to eliminate those clips. And you have to understand straight away to go and understand that. See, what you guys can do with a portable speaker is you can place it right in front of you. And my portable speaker is 1 meter away from me. And it's a large portable speaker. And the laptop's just in front of it. But I'm enjoying my life. I'm making sure that you guys understand that I have everything going for me. So what I do is I make more music. Because I need to. I need to be making sure that I have all the luck in the world and all the draw in the world to go and do what I need to do. But I'm creating this massive hype, and people are starting to say, oh, I mean, so many teasers, man. I mean, you're sending me so many teasers about your music, man. I want to hear it once and for all, man. I mean, send them all teasers. I understand? And that's it. I mean, just send them teasers, and that's how you actually create excitement and hype and buzz about your music, because that's what you need to do. I mean, you need to create that buzz about your music. So what you do with distortion is just go and raise the volume and remove the distortion from your life. But if you want to understand, that is how you do distortion, by removing distortion. I mean, understand? But then let's say you do want distortion on your mix, then just add it in one sequence of your music track. I love it. Actually, in one sequence of my music track, there's only distortion on my vocals. And why is that? Because prior to my vocals, in terms of prior to that sequence, there is no distortion on my there is no distortion on my vocals prior to that experience. So from minute 1 to minute, I mean, let's say 0, I mean, from minute 0 to minute 30 seconds or minute 30 minutes in terms of life, for example, I mean, let's just say from a certain period of time to a certain period of time, my vocals have no distortion. But let's say from a 2-hour track, I mean, let's say from a 2-hour track, that I want to place my vocals, and let's say somebody wants to place the vocals to just have a distortion in the vocals in one part of the track that's just for 5 minutes or 2 hours. I mean, you can do that if you want. And that's different, yeah? But there's one part of my Idonotopia track where there's distortion currently in my music tracks. And why is that? Because it goes. And it's so big and so loud that it actually works. I mean, in a sense, so anyway, just understand that. I mean, once you understand that, just understand that you must make it work for yourself. And you must make everything work so you can do greater. I say also, guys, if you want to raise your sound in terms of your sound system and sound design, then you can also use a Fruity limiter to raise the sound, or any compressor or any kind of Maximus program can help you do that. Or you can also go into the volume knobs inside of your digital audio workstation or mixer channel, or the step sequencer as well, or the master channel as well, can all raise sound in your beautiful soundtracks and sound design. I say this is for all kind of, let's say, audio workstations that you work on that can do this. See, if you guys want to create, let's say, a Fruity limiter with a sidechain, then what you need to do is you need to relax in a way that you have to go and grow yourself to teach people what it is. And then what you do is make sure you go into the nice and beautiful kick, and make sure that you link the kick to the Fruity limiter. And then once you link the kick to the Fruity limiter, then you must also sidechain. And now you must understand, then you select the kick from that sidechain with the Fruity limiter. And then what you do with the other channels and the other nice and beautiful instruments that you want to, let's say, sidechain, then what you do here is you make sure that you can go into the nice and beautiful vocals or any kind of instrument and link it to the sidechain, just link it to the sidechain and click sidechain to this track only. I mean, understand? So when you do that, for example, you just click over here where the nice and beautiful knob is and just say sidechain to this track only. And now when you do that for all of the nice and beautiful melodies and instruments and everything, then what happens is you never sidechain to this track only, you just sidechain to this track. And there's two options. that you can either choose sidechain to this track, or you can say sidechain to this track only. But just go sidechain to this track. Otherwise, the master channel in terms of your audio workstations may also disrupt the audio and the sound. So make sure you understand to just sidetrack to this track instead of sidetrack to this track only. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that and then focus upon that. I realize when you focus upon that, then you're doing better. I see also what you can do, guys, is you can place a sidechain hustle with a Nicky Romero sidechain or Grosbeat sidechain or Fruity Limiter sidechain on any of your instruments whenever you want. I mean, in a sense, so that way, just make sure you're never scratching yourself, but make sure that you're creating content to help yourself grow, and then make sure either way that you're doing greater. I see, because it helps you. I see what you guys have to do is if you want to sidechain something to a certain instrument or melody, then what you need to do is create a sidechain bus where you can go and create a sidechain hustle where you get one part of the mixer and place a Fruity Limiter on it, and then what you do is link the kick to the sidechain in that mixer. And then what you do is turn all the volumes up always when you're sidechaining with Fruity Limiter and all the instruments with Fruity Limiter, and make sure that all the sounds and all the nice and beautiful volume knobs are all the way up. And then what you do is pick a sound or pick a melody or pick a sound effect and place it in a certain range of frequencies where you want it in certain aspects of the frequency of the nice and beautiful frequency mixer of your channel mixer in terms of your FL Studio mixer, and place all of the sidechain and all of the melodies and instruments there, and make all the nice and beautiful, let's say, instruments and melodies unique, and then place it in that mixer channel. And now link the kick also to that mixer channel. So you link the kick to the actual bus channel where the actual sidechain is, and then link it again to where the melody is or to the sound where it's different. So if you have your sound that you want to sidechain with a Fruity Limiter is on mixer 57, then create a mixer 58 with a sidechain with a Fruity Limiter, and then connect the kick to the Fruity Limiter in 58 with the sidechain, and then connect the nice and beautiful bass drum inside of the 57 mixer where your melody is as well, and then say sidechain to this track only as well in both channels, and then turn up the volume knobs, and that's how you actually have it all better. And it actually works, guys, because I understand that and it's actually working for me. I say it's very important for you guys to be able to teach people very quickly upon what you're doing around FL Studio in your life, so you can actually grow yourself and have a great time, because what's ahead of me is talking more, and I understand that, so it's much more appreciative of me to be able to go and give content all day long. But if you're sending people messages, then it's because you're sending them love. But if they never respect your love, it's because they never deserve your love. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand it has nothing to do with you. So make sure you understand that everything has to do with you. But make sure you understand that no matter what, I realize if they hate you, then take more responsibility in terms of, never take more responsibility, but be taking more responsibility in terms of be taking, but never take away. Although you're taking responsibility or you're showing more responsibility to do better and better and better so that you can win over people is what I'm talking about. So if somebody hates you, it's because you never did convince them of you in the first place. So you have to convince them to love you over and over again until they do, and then that way you're making sure that either way you're doing greater and greater and greater, and that's how you be. So guys, always be double checking to see where your nice beautiful programs are, so you can see exactly where you did place your stuff. So every single time, just always check what's going on inside of your mixer channel and what's happening inside of your effects channel, so you can understand either way what's going on in your mixer, so you can do better and better and better is the whole point. I see guys, if your mix is never pumping through and if the vocals are never pumping through, then go and actually place your vocals in a new section of a mixer where you had it before. And go and place your mixer channel in terms of the sounds in a way that you had it before in a certain mixer channel, and that way it can work. Because I had my vocals on a 56 and 57, let's say, mixer channel, and it never did work for me on those channels. But my mixer channel 20 does work. And why is that? Because on actual 20 over here, in terms of my mixer 20, I have over here some nice and beautiful Maximus, and I have two Maximus programs that is louder in volume, and that's why. Alright, now, no matter what, that since I have two Maximus plugins that is all the way up in volume, in pre-gain and post-gain, and then also I link the kick or fruity channel kick with a sidechain to the actual vocal, then it pumps through the mix, and that's it. I promise you, it's so excellent that I can actually do this now. So I'm either way understanding that no matter what I do, that I just grow and I grow and I grow. But because I grow now, I understand that no matter what, that I want to place my vocals to just be, because I understand that either way, I'm working on my vocal system over here, and I'm making sure that my vocals are sounding excellent throughout the mix. But what I want to do now is I want to be making sure that if I have anything to do over here, that it's more about how I feel. And now if I feel the need to do anything else, I promise you it's much more how I feel to just let it be and to also just do greater. So if you want to do greater in life, then just be able to go and pronounce yourself in a better way, to focus upon something that works, and that way you do better. But what I want to do is I want to feel the nice and beautiful vocals over here, and I want to make a nice and beautiful hustle over here to make sure that people can hear my melody much more. I want people to hear this melody go off much more. And why is that? Because my actual vocals over here, in terms of what's going on, I understand that it's much more how I feel. So because my actual sound is going that way, I want to make a nice and beautiful progressive track. And why is that? Because a progressive track means that everything is different. And I want to add that sound to it. And now, because I want to add different sounds to my nice and beautiful mix over here, I want to make sure that these mixes that I want in terms of my sound are very different in comparison. So I want to make sure that people can hear what's going on in my mix over here. So I want to make a progression. I want to make a progression over here. I want to make sure that people can hear the sound of what's going on. I want to make sure either way that what I do from now on is very different, and I make sure that no matter what, that you guys have what you deserve in Idinotopia. Because guess what, that's how I feel. I feel like that. I feel greater. I feel amazing to be able to produce this music track, because it's something that really works for me. So what I do is I'm just cleaning the system of my nice and beautiful tracks over here. So I'm making sure I'm using all the grid lines as I'm doing my tracks, and I'm really in more excitement because I'm teaching you as well. And I understand Will Sparkle is very happy with his track. I'm understanding, although he can do so much better, I'm understanding that what I need to do now is just focus on the greater life for myself, and just make sure that you guys have all the accountability that you need daily, to make sure that what you do also is change up the actual incline of your automations. And now why is that? Because when you change up your automation clips, or else what happens is you have more control over progression. I mean, do you hear that? I mean, you have more control over progression when you have different automation clips playing. And that's why. So what you do is you make sure that you can go and spike up a intrusion of sound to make sure that you have what you deserve. And make sure every single nice and beautiful melody that you play is very different in terms of every single structure, because that way what you do is you have a greater life for yourself, and because you do, then you make sure every single time that you focus upon your life in a way that's growing. Although make sure you go and make your screen bigger in terms of the automation clips, so you can actually go and hustle much greater in a way that's working for you to grow and really dwell upon something that's really happening for you. And then make sure either way that what you want to do is change up your sound system in a way that's actually working for you, is what we're talking about. So just change it up in a different way. And why is that? Because we want to make our track sound very different. And now make sure you understand that when you do that, then you're always showing yourself much more love in the process, to also understand that you must go and keep going in a way that you're focusing on a greater way of life for yourself. And now because you're doing that, then you're focusing on making sure that your life is something much greater. So making sure all the time that you want to go and spike up the best kind of progression forward in a way that is working for you, so that you can go and grab yourself the best victory in the planet, because that way you're actually growing and you're actually showing people very quickly upon what you want out of life. Because what you want out of life is to be successful, yeah? So make sure you just go and make something up. Make a nice and beautiful transition of audio length, and also play some percussions inside of your progression, because people can tell the difference. In a sense, so yeah, I realize you guys need to be shifting your music track differently. Your whole music track has to be different. Do you understand? So when you have a different musical sound, then people want to hear it. But if it's always the fucking same, then guess what happens? Then fucking people have no interest in your same sound. They only have an interest when you are playing sounds that actually correlate with a different melody, or a different way of production, or a different sound, or different ways of doing something, is what we want to hear. Whereas if you just go dun 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 for fucking 50 million years, somebody may go dun 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 dun. There's a big difference, man. I'd rather hear the fucking more notes than fucking one sound. Understand? So the whole point is focus on understanding that if you want a certain sound in your life, then be able to produce that sound for yourself, is all I'm saying. So if you want to understand anything about life, then understand how it is and how it feels to be able to dwell upon something that you want in a way that's working out for you. In a sense, so every single day, just be careful to go and understand if you're making a progressive, then make it progressive, but make it somewhere new in the mix. Make it somewhere new in the mix. And why is that? Because you need a new part of life. You need to never stress out on anything, but make your channel progressive. And now when I go and really use a magnifying glass, I zoom all the way out and I say, hey, from this point to this point is where I want this. And from this point to this point, I just want percussion. Because I can see it. I can see the actual melody progress. And that's the whole point. So now I have a nice and beautiful opportunity here, but I want to create a nice and beautiful melody here. But what I want to do is I want to create this over here, where I place my nice and beautiful sound production here, where I place my nice and beautiful bells to hit at a certain frequency at a certain time, because that way I have a greater life in the process of what I'm doing, and I'm making sure that I make my beautiful progressions. So now, since I have that, I realize, that's more enough for me. But that's how I am. I realize every single day that you never, never ever overdo it. I'm better than I'm making sure that every single day that you guys understand something. Understand how to talk better and understand how to feel better while you're doing it, because that's how it is. I just say, guys, make sure that if you have volume automation somewhere in your mix, to make sure that eventually what you want to do is, if you have vocals there, and if you have any vocals happening in that mix, then make sure that you're always somebody who lowers the volume to some extent to be more dominant about having those vocals come out into the mix, because that's what you need to do. I need to make sure always that you guys have more than enough to satisfy your needs. So what I want to do is to place some energy over here. I'm something I can do by making sure that I go ahead and let it be, because I understand that what I need to do right now is focus on something much greater. So it's much more how it is. So I can feel a greater way of life like this, where I can focus upon something that helps me grow. And now, because it's actually progressing already, I let it be, because that's how I am. So now I just go and listen to it, and I see much better how to do greater, because that's how I realize that's how I do it, and that's how I actually understand much better. I realize also what you want to do is, if you have new sounds or new progressions in that mix, then what you need to do is go and change it up and go and make it all different. Why do you make it different? Because you already have something new happening in that mix. Since there's something new happening in the mix already, then make sure that you understand that you can go and change and make certain dinosaur vocals in a way that is helping you grow in different ways, and that way you can focus upon something that helps you grow, is what I'm talking about. So make sure either way that you focus upon understanding that you love your life in certain ways, to go really dwell upon something that's helping you, because if you understand anything about life, then understand how it feels to go and grow yourself. So make sure you're just making everything much more progressive for yourself in different ways, and then focus upon understanding that you need to go and do greater upon your life. And now, because you want to do greater, you want to focus upon understanding that it's all about making sure that you have a greater life for yourself. So when you have a greater life, then focus upon that and focus upon giving. So make people love your work. I mean, make people understand you. I mean, make people understand what you are all about, because that way we are progressing forward, aren't we? I mean, isn't that the point of life? I mean, isn't that the point of life, to be growing? I mean, so what do you do when you grow? I mean, or else when you're growing, then you're making sure that no matter what, that you're progressing the music track as much as you can, and you're making sure that you're showing people new acts of whatever you're doing, so that you can focus upon something that helps you grow. I mean, isn't that the point? First, the whole point is making sure that you're doing something new for yourself. So make sure you do that, and make sure you understand how to do better. I see also what's important is if you have, let's say, 4 vocals that are, let's say, 5 seconds each. I mean, what you can do is make sure that you go placing all these nice and beautiful sounds in a way that you can hear it. So I mean, make sure you're placing sounds where it works, where you can hear the sounds of all the nice and beautiful tonalities of what you're doing. So then just make sure that you can go and dwell upon raising that sound so much in another section somewhere where it actually works for you to do it. And make sure either way that what you need to do is realize every single time that if you want to raise a bit more volume on something, then you can if you want to, but make sure you understand that what's important is understanding that you want to grow yourself to the point where you can understand how you're actually transitioning into a period of something new, because the whole point is deliver something new, isn't it? Personally, now every single time, just make sure that you're delivering the best kind of content in the planet, so you can focus upon understanding that with the vocals you do have, then focus upon understanding that you want to create something new in a way that's working for you. I mean, in a sense, that's the whole point, yeah? I mean, the whole point is making sure that you can focus upon something that's helping you grow, because that is how you deliver content. I mean, you only ever deliver content by making sure you have more than enough of everything to support yourself. So that way you're never ripping anybody off, but you're making sure that you're very successful, and that's it. So that's all you have to do. So make sure anyway that since you're actually doing that, just make sure that you love your life, and that's it. See, what you guys can do is before you start layering all these new sounds into your mix, then go make a unique file. I mean, just make a unique file about that kind of file that you want, and all you do is go and place it somewhere else in the mix, and then link a direct channel that goes into that mix differently. And then what you do is you raise the volume with double maximus volumes, or 3 maximus or whatever, and sidechain it to the fruity limiter, and suddenly you have a sound that is extra in your mix. And then now you deserve an applause, because you deserve something greater, and you deserve to have a greater mix. So because you're doing that, and because you understand that, then congratulations, you deserve it. You deserve a better sounding mix. So anything that's a better sounding mix in your heart or anybody's heart is something that's more value, and where more sounds can be heard while you're transitioning into a period where you're doing better. And that's it. You must understand that I'm doing music production alone. I mean, nobody's helping me do it except I'm the only one helping myself grow over here. So what I do is I just grow differently. I make sure I'm doing something different I've never done, and I just stick to the better way. I never stick to boundaries. I do stick to my disciplines, but my disciplines are role modules to help me grow. I never have a boundary in my life, because I never want a boundary in my life. I mean, other people are trying to prevent you from success. I mean, you must understand how it is to life coach also, and to do greater upon other aspects of life as well. So be careful about the people you surround yourself with, because they are people who need to learn something. And you also have to be learning something along the way. You have to understand how it feels to be greater than other people. So to be greater than other people, then focus upon yourself and focus upon raising the volume where you need it in your life, and go and do what you need to do to make your mix succeed in different ways. So if it means working on the same track for 1 month, then go and do it. And go and work on one track for 1 month. I mean, see how it feels. I mean, you understand? Because that's how you grow. You grow through different aspects right away, and then we're focusing on the greater way. So guys, be very careful upon where you actually place your nice and beautiful Maximus with sidechain, and just realize that if sounds never work really in your mix, then what you do is you can fill up the sound with those sound effects, but never rely on those sounds to actually come through the mix, because sometimes you must understand that what happens if you raise the volume on those sounds. You must understand to never ever link your sidechain to those tracks, because otherwise your actual bass drum may also, and it does, raise its volume if you keep raising volumes on the amount of, let's say, nice and beautiful dinosaur vocals or vocals that you have, for example, I love I. If you link your sidechain to a kick with those melodies, and you place Maximus volume and gaining volume on those melodies, then also it boosts the actual sound of your kick as well. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, eventually your kick becomes so much bigger that it really amputates your actual sounding mix, and it drowns out everything else. So what you need to do is, if you lower the volume on your melody, then you can bring also your nice and beautiful vocal and your nice and beautiful dinosaur mix into the you can bring your nice and beautiful dinosaur mix or any kind of melody or vocal into the mix by just lowering, in terms of lowering the melody or any kind of sound that you have. So I'm understanding this one here. I understand that if I lower this sound, it's something I can do, but I'd rather just understand something that if I do so, it's something I can do just to see how it all works. So let's have a look. I see what's important, guys, is understanding that if you're listening to music so close to a speaker, in terms of a portable speaker, and it's so close to you, then you have the best sound. And you can listen to it the best you can because it's right in front of you. And a big portable speaker right in front of you can hear everything. In terms of, you can hear everything with a portable speaker like this. I understand, because either way, it's right in front of you. It's never the portable speaker, but you. I understand. But if you place your portable speaker 50 miles away, then of course the sound's going to be distant, isn't it? But if you place it closer to you, then you can make music very fast. I see when you place a nice and beautiful fruity delay 3 or any kind of delay on your nice and beautiful motivational soundtracks that you make, I mean, just make sure you understand that it already has a nice and beautiful reverb going with the actual delay. So if you delay something, then it already has a reverb on it. I mean, in a sense, so that's why I'm understanding that you can place extra reverb if you want. But the thing is about the delay, that it already has a reverb. So if you place a delay on some kind of instrument, it already shows you a reverb with that. I mean, in a sense, or you can actually place an extra reverb if you want. So up to you. See guys, what I want to say about distortion is, if you have a trance music track, or let's say you have a track that you're never creating in terms of life in a way that it's hardstyle, just understand that if you're never creating hardstyle, then why do you have distortion in your mix? I mean, have minimal distortion in your life in terms of your music sounds. But if there's silence and then you're hearing footsteps of dinosaurs or vocals or some melody that's on its own, I mean, why do you even need distortion on that? I mean, you can, but why do you want to place too much distortion? I mean, place just minimal distortion only, because that way you never ruin the mix. Because distortion has a shh and has this swiping effect of wind, and it's just all over the place. And there's too much wind and shh going on in your mix when you have so much distortion. I realize although when you have something of a nice and pure sound, that is what we need. I realize we need pure energy of pure sounds without distortion, but minimal distortion in those sounds is nice and doable. But too much distortion causes shh, and you never need that much shh. If you want to create an effect of that, then you can. I mean, there's no rules in music production, but those people who do more of everything in life, then understand that those people also who do much more music production than other people are, of course, a better individual overall than those people who are doing less. I see what you guys can do in an Edison recording, where you may have an Edison recording or some type of recording with a sound system that you've done in terms of audio. And now what I've done over here is understand my little kick has hit the nice and beautiful surface of the track, but the kick is somehow a lower kick. And what I want to do is I just want to go over it with a nice and beautiful melody to make it appear like it's a big kick. So then what happens with the little kick is it becomes a bigger kick in the process. And then either way, even a small kick that starts off a small way that goes into a bigger kick can work for you. But what you can also do is you can go from your nice and beautiful setup of your melodies and patterns to go and place your Edison recording or some type of recording of wave file that you've done, and also place a melody that's going and transitioning into that nice and beautiful recording, so that it appears that the nice and beautiful mix is something new now, and that something else is happening. So that's the whole point. So the whole point is make sure that you go and do something different that you've never done. But I'm understanding this one here. I'm understanding that somehow, somewhere, I have done this, but I've done a new way over here. So if you just make certain notes of melodies and you cut them all up and you cut up all these sounds and you make a melody out of it, is what I've done over here. I have made sure that no matter what, that my sounds are all different in terms of melodies, so that everybody can enjoy the nice and beautiful gist of a melody that I have. So anyway, guys, just make sure that you create all these cuts in terms of your melodies. So if you have 50,000 notes, I mean, let's just say if you have 50 notes, then cut them up into 3 notes or 4 notes and 5 notes. Go 1 note and go 5 notes and 4 notes and 3 notes and 10. Go into 10 notes and 9 notes and 2 notes, and then just go 1 note and 1 note and 1 note, for example, and then just make different sequences of melodies like this. And that's what I've done in my Idonotopia tracks. So just go and check it out. So it's all sequence of different note melodies. So that's why I'm understanding that it's so interesting, because there's so much going on, and that's why. I see also, guys, when I'm naming my files over here, so what I do is I say Idonotopia -final 08-050 in terms of -2021. So I'm placing the date today, which is the 08 of the 5th of the 2021, into the file mix. So I say Idonotopia final with the date today, with the nice and beautiful 32-bit version over here, and I save it onto the desktop, and then I just create the WAV file, an MP3 version, and I go 32-bit float first, because that's the original mix, and that's 80 minutes over here is my final production over here. So that's 3 hours. I have 3 hours in 2 sessions over here. So I'm understanding although that my next hour is coming up, and I have a new hour, which is my middle version. So I just did my intro and I did the final version. So what I do now is I add the middle. I'm doing a middle version now, and I have to understand now that I have to link the intro into the middle so that it can vibe together, and that's it. Then I go into something new and I just enjoy my life. So either way, just make sure that you're exporting MP3, and make sure that you also just enjoy yourself in a way that you're recording yourself and you're doing something amazing, and you're just making sure either way that you're going into your softwares over here, and you're just making sure that either way you want to be able to go and document everything, to be able to make sure that you're doing yourself a service over here of gratitude, in a way that you're going into your nice and beautiful folders, and you're making sure to rename all the files and everything so that you can do a greater job. And that's the whole point, guys. And the whole point is create something new for yourself that you've never done before, and create new aspects of life. So you can go and rename your folders, and once you rename your folders, then you make sure either way that you go into your nice and beautiful Mega Drive or whatever in terms of life, where you place all your content. And I place my content in Mega Drive, so that way you guys have a better responsibility upon how I do my work. And then what I do from that point is I make sure I just go and see where I'm up to in terms of my music university over here. And I have over 1 terabyte of files in my music accounts. And now, since I'm actually doing that, I'm working on my actual soundtracks this year in terms of in my albums over here. I mean, I can see over here in 2016, I had 3.9 gigabytes of work in 2016 with my album. But then in my 2020 album, in my music production, I have 551 gigabytes. So that's already what? I mean, how much is that? I mean, guess what? I mean, in my 2016 album, I have 4 gigabytes of information that I've done. But then in my 220, in terms of my 220, in terms of 2020 album, I have 551. So 551 divided by 4. I mean, that's 137 times more I've done in 2020 than in 16 in terms of 2016. Otherwise, either way, then in 2021, I have 758 gigabytes. I mean, do you understand? So I'm leveling up. And I'm doing far more work this year on my music production. So I went from 4 gigabytes in 2016 as my album to 551 gigabytes in 220 in terms of 2020 album into 2021 album, which is my 758 gigabytes. So I've done already 200 gigabytes more this year than last year in terms of my nice and beautiful progress over here. So as I actually go and do something over here, I have to go into my nice and beautiful content here, and I just pick out the best tracks I've done over here, and I'm doing everything greater than yesterday. I'm focusing on giving you guys courses so I can go and deliver a greater way for myself to grow, because you have to grow somehow, and you have to make sure that it's through better words. And now if you can study better words and you can do something greater for yourself in words, then you can do anything you ever want. But make sure you're always labeling your content in a way that you're growing. So I have 67 courses to show you in my Dinotopia of all images. So just go and check it out. And just be sure to just watch the images. And either way, I promise you, from that point, I just label all my nice and beautiful technology here, which is my sound design with the images over here. So I'm making sure I'm placing it all into images, in terms of a image folder, and I want to be uploading all of this tonight online, so I can store everything online quickly to make sure that I'm ahead of the game. I have to be ahead of game. I have to be ahead of the game in my music production. But I never ever place anything into my USBs other than my business card for now. I have 113 gigabytes of USBs with me, but I just stored my business card image in terms of my business card images in there. I mean, why is that? Because I upload everything into Mega Drive anyway. So I'm learning very much more about behavior here. I love I. And also I mute my nice and beautiful sound design over here with my nice and beautiful, let's say, content. So I understand anyway, if you want your nice and beautiful portable speaker light to be on, then you can have it on if you want. But make sure that what's important for yourself here is to make sure that you're laboring in terms of labeling yourself great in a way that you're doing greater for yourself to do more. So be doing more, guys, and be able to recollect where you're up to in terms of life. So I have core 68 over here. I understand, although, that when I'm really doing something around life, I'm making sure that I label it either arrangement or sound design or automation, or all together as arrangement and sound design, or arrangement and automation, and arrangement and sound design and automation, or arrangement. So either way, that when I do something, I just go through the images really quickly in terms of my plugins over here, and I'm making sure that I can go and really listen to everything I'm doing over here, because the whole point is making sure that you can progress forward and you can make sure that you're doing something greater for yourself always, to make sure that you're loving life in a way that is working for you. So when you're doing that, then make sure always to be doing a sound design and arrangement for yourself in a way that you're actually growing yourself, and you're making sure that you're never lazy to speak up, but you're making sure that you make yourself food and you make yourself what you need to live life in different ways. So what I do always, I realize what I do always is I make sure to clean up my mix. I clean up my mix. I go through the mix. I listen back to it. I hear it out again and again and again. So I want to be able to go into my music production now in terms of my theories over here. And I want to listen to everything with earphones first, and then headphones again, and then portable speaker finally. And then either way, I want to multiply be able to invest my sound design and everything in terms of what I've done over here. I want to be making sure that I always label everything in terms of names the best way, so I can focus upon something that works for me in different ways. So I'm focusing on making sure that you guys always have what you deserve in terms of life. So I'm making sure that I'm always giving you the best I can in terms of life. So I'm always making sure that I have more to give, so that way I'm lifting myself and other people along the way. But if anybody never likes you because you said something, then guess what? Probably it's because they are stupid, and that's why you need to go and do life greater for yourself. I promise you now, since I'm actually always lifting myself in different ways, I'm understanding that Idonotopia is a great success for me personally in terms of the track. I understand the track's amazing, and I understand it's because I'm doing greater in terms of the nice and beautiful quality of what's going on. So I'm understanding that no matter what, I really want to understand that I let it be, and I make sure that no matter what, I go and do greater always in different aspects of life. So if you want to understand something about what I do, then it's more about how I feel about you. I promise you, although guess what? I promise you it's much more how it is. I promise you, I understand how it is when somebody rhythms and rhymes in their nice and beautiful communicational style, but it's more about making sure that you have the nice and beautiful way of life to go and dwell upon something that's actually working for you to succeed is very nice. So make sure that no matter what, that you're renaming all your content quickly and then uploading it quickly online, so that you can become more of a success, because that's the whole point. And the whole point is watching yourself to deliver everything right now so you can become free.